Trade wars and a market crash are coming up, and I just want to say something. The word revolution, it's very interesting that if you look at the second, third, fourth, and fifth letter of it and you reverse them, it has the word love. It's out of the love of freedom. Even the Italian anarchist of the 1920s who blew up Wall Street, there's actually still some marks on the buildings from way back when from that. It was the love of freedom. It was like anarchy is something not really a bad thing. Anarchy, when it looks like everything's confusing, but everybody's rights are still inherently protected, and anybody could do what the heck they want, that's fine. We don't need to make society an ordered thing. And then what happens after the revolution, which is out of the love of freedom? The love fades, and it has to be renewed. It seems like it's been this way, I guess maybe every 80 years, roughly. 1776, we had the love of freedom, with the colonists trying to break away from the UK, which they succeeded in doing it. 1861 to 1865, the South tried to break away from the swamp, if you want to put it that way. That's what they did. Then, both times, we were fighting a centralized government. Then, 80 years later, World War II. We were fighting the fascists in Germany and the fascist imperialist in Japan. Both centralized control. And I also want to mention that it was the grandsons, sons, and great-grandsons of the Confederates from the South that made a major, major effort to stopping the Nazis and the Japanese imperialists in World War II. If it wasn't for them, I mean, there's a lot of people that made an effort. If it wasn't for them included, probably wouldn't have happened. Today, they always make the Southerners look so damn bad. It's disgusting. But which direction are we going in today? Trump had that campaign, Make America Great Again. But I'm going to tell you, the guy is not 100% bad, but I always knew when he was saying all that stuff in his campaign, no way in hell was it going to be what he said, is going to happen. Not just because he couldn't make it happen, but because, I recognize that type of person. They are, anybody with that kind of money, it loves power, money, prestige, and their ego. That's about it. And whatever you throw out there, he's going to go with. He's got some patriotic streak in him, no doubt. Hillary had none. I know this. But he basically, all his life, was a New York City liberal. I think the main reason I voted for this guy, to tell you the truth, was to make Hillary lose. But number two, where I had more faith in him, was not necessarily him, but his sons. His sons are actually more on a straight and narrow than I think he is. Trump is a New York City liberal most of his life. So I don't know how that's going to work out. But one thing he's been pushing for lately is, tariffs, protectionist tariffs with China. Now, the way to really let that happen, and you want to stop it, is let the dollar devalue. That's what really happened with Japan. We let the dollar devalue back, and I think it was in the mid-'80s. The yen rate was like 260 yen to the dollar, and then under Reagan, it went to like 125. It was like half the value, and that helped slow down the exports coming in from Japan. That would do the same thing for China. Now, obviously, even with China, a lot of times people, even when they're buying stuff that's a lot cheaper, I'm not saying everything from China is bad. Some stuff is actually pretty damn good. Believe it or not, because, the American corporations are in there watching the quality control. But sometimes the quality is so bad, you could buy 3 items and they'll break, rather than just buying the right thing the first time over, which it could be from Japan, Germany, or even Taiwan. But mainland China, not too great quality. But he's going to allow, what he's going to do, he's been trying to push for tariffs. That's why he didn't go with the TPP. That's the one thing one campaign promise he actually went and kept his promise. I don't really care about the stupid wall, I mean, immigration's not a problem from Mexico so much as it is from, tell you the truth, if immigration was legal or illegal, I don't even look at that issue. I look at the issue whether the government pays for people coming here, whether you're legal or illegal. Hey, if you snuck over here and you're doing a lot of work and you're doing stuff that people don't want to do and you're doing a good job and you're here illegally, I don't care. I'm fine with you. Go over here. You know, I'm not going to rat you out. All right? So anyway, old girl here is on a bike, and this deal, this is how I look at old traditional America right here. It's like, I wish the times would go back. That's one reason I like going to the car shows. It's like going back to the times. Now, one thing I also want to remark on here is a lot of time is being taken up with social media. And, I know I go long in these videos sometimes, but I try to put things in perspective and give people a little bit of a pep talk and not just be on the negative side. But, this is good advice here. Do more things that make you forget to check your phone. I don't check my phone. I got this phone that's got all these features in it. It's a smartphone. It's smarter than me. I don't want to learn it. I just use it as a phone, and sometimes I record some YouTube videos with it once in a while. That's about all I do. Usually I use the camera, though. I don't even use all the features on it. A lot of people are getting involved in social media too much. YouTube's not so bad because, well, depends. If you're looking at stuff that's trending, I think that's the worst stuff going. But there's a lot of stuff on YouTube that can teach you stuff. And actually on my channel, I got a lot more stuff that various subjects that, you might learn something. Some people won't learn something. Most people learn something if you look around on my channel. There's a lot of junk on there that's really good. That's where YouTube's useful. But most of the time, social media is a bunch of fluff, and it's designed to keep your brain occupied and your time wasted. I can tell you, I think Tumblr is like probably one of the stupidest things I ever invented. I don't know what that thing's for. I looked at that. I says, you can't even find nothing on there for crying out loud. What is this thing? People just go post stuff all day. That's all they're doing. You'd be better off getting a freaking motorcycle and tinkering around with it and being a grease monkey. I used to tell you back, or even hanging out in the pool hall. They used to tell you that was a waste of time. Well, to me, I don't know about the pool hall, but working on a bike or something like that, or working on a car, or building something, you'd be better off doing that. Now, I think the markets are on an all-time high peak. I've been saying this before, and God, it's like they went further than they should have. They passed a 7-8 year cycle from the last 2008-2009 year crash. It was at one point in time before, it was at the third longest bull run in all-time history. Then it was at the second all-time bull run and longest bull run in history, which the first previously was the one in 1920s. Now, it's like the all-time longest bull run in history. It's the most overbought market from every factor around. Plus, it's also funded with loans and liabilities. And plus, the consumer debt's record. Plus, the national debt has exceeded now $21 trillion. I think the point of return, they say, by most people that are in the know, is that point of no return is $24 trillion, which is a few years away. Donald is still putting us in $1 trillion of debt each year because he's supporting the military-industrial complex. I kind of figured he was going to do that. I wasn't disappointed with him when he bombed Syria, okay? I know a lot of people jumped ship on him right there, but then I started seeing a lot of the stuff he's been doing, especially with our defense rights, He's like throwing us under the bus right there, it seems, too, So, it's going to go down pretty fast. So, anyway, you got to go old school all the way to freaking get things done. That's what it is. Now, I'm going to tell you, look at, I don't have too many, and I'm not saying I got the best stuff on this other channel because sometimes I put out some junk too, but there are a few really good things, more than a few, on that American Russian survival channel I have out there. You might want to look at some of the stuff because, I know a lot of people are into silver. They're kind of like survivalists. I even went into stuff about how you should take a trash bag with you to survive against, cold weather and where the wind is blowing through you and rain and all this kind of garbage. A lot of different things. A lot of cool little tips that I knew that are not really, I don't know where I picked them up over the years, man. I don't even know if anybody talked to me or told me about them. With stuff I kind of figured out on my own. Kind of like MacGyver stuff. And I'm going to have a little more on here today, too. But Not that the channel's not even monetized now, so I'm not making even 25 cents off it, so I'm just telling you about it. But what I think is coming up, now, this is another curveball. Now, I know this is the catastrophe map, which I don't know. If there's ever a catastrophe with water clobbering the United States, this map of Florida is way too optimistic. I think most of the state would be gone. That's why I think I'm going to be up there in the northeast Tennessee mountains, if this is true. I don't think this is true, but maybe. But, one of the things we see coming up that's also throwing a monkey wrench in all the economy is the weather changes. And I'm not talking about, the pseudoscience, climate change, global warming garbage, but I'm talking about the mini ice age. The mini ice age, I was telling some people, my family up in New Jersey about, hey, the mini ice age. And the beginning of January was really bad, and then it got really warm. But for the midsection of the country, Chicago beat every record of cold. The UK got clobbered this winter. I think a lot of Northern Europe got a bunch of records. And then finally, even in the Northeast, they've had the fourth nor'easter major storm. They got like a foot of snow the first day of spring. So, I've been vindicated, and Boston, which had 108 inches of snow in 2015, which is an all-time record, now shattered that record. I forgot what it is, but they broke it before the storm that just hit now. They already broke it with the last storm. So what I'm saying is that's going to affect fuel prices because people are using more home heating oil. It's also going to affect the growing season a lot, which is going to increase food prices, and not just fuel prices. And food also was an energy-intensive, enterprise. And what that's going to cause is for people to have less discretionary spending. Now, another side of it is this. During times of mini ice ages, which we might be coming into something even bigger than this, because they have a thing called the Milankovitch cycle, which is going to happen in 2024. It hasn't happened for 110,000 years. The last time that happened, the same type of Milankovitch cycle, which is different types, the same type of Milankovitch cycle brought on the major ice age. But what also happens during these times, when there's lesser sunspots and stuff, there's more volcanoes and more earthquakes. And this could be the time where you might have this cataclysmic event. We've had one, I think it was 13,000 or 15,000 years ago. It's in all the fossil records and everything, and also in the geological records. It's proven. It's not. And you're saying it was so long ago. How do you know this is going to happen? Well, it could be because it's going to coincide with this extraordinary Milankovitch event in 2024. This Edgar Cayce guy might be right. Remember when he was making those predictions? He got most of them right, and some of them look like maybe they're wrong. Well, maybe that's because they didn't happen yet. And, I'm not going to worry about this too much, but I'm not sure about living in Florida. I got a sailboat, but that may not be good enough. So anyway, I just want to bring that up, too. I mean, I'm not bringing it up as a doom and gloomer, but hey, you never know. Now, the other side of it is this. The financial sector, this is a stockbroker here, a young stockbroker from New York. It's like they're getting in an endless puddle. That's another way. I mean, yeah, they're getting underwater, too. I think the markets are going to come down worse than in 1929. But if you remember the lessons from 1929, Black Monday 1929, the markets rebounded quite a bit. But where they really crashed and lost 90% of their value was in 1932, a few years later. So say they come down during the Trump administration, they might rebound a lot during his administration too. And it might take a few years after, well, you know what, that could be, well, it might be 2021, it might be the next president, whoever that is. It might not be Trump because a lot of people are jumping ship on this guy. And I don't care who the next president is because I'm not going to vote anymore. I'd rather, unless they have a Confederate president up there on the ticket for the 13 southern states, I'll vote for that guy. But I'm not voting for nobody out of Washington, D.C. But that's how I think. Anyway, but, that's going to be something that's going to be coming up, too, because the markets will crash. They've been way overdue. way, way overdue. It's not doom and gloom. It's this globally. It's the most overbought markets going. Period. The most overfunded by debts ever too. The debt to equity ratios are all screwed up. It's like the PE ratios are all screwed up. Excuse me, price earnings ratios are all screwed up too. So, and it's not much of an underlying economy supporting all this stuff. Actually, the situation was a lot more rosy back in the 1920s because it was the beginning of the new industrial age. Today, I'm like, what's so brand new about everything? I don't know what. But and we got a lot of disinformation coming in on the internet. As an example of right here. This guy from Mr. Redondo Beach High School commenting on South Florida for the big network. He was an intern before he freaking going out there. I don't want to mention too much. And then we got somebody who's even a bigger disinformation specialist. Zuckerberg, Facebook. I can't stand this guy. As much as people bitching out about YouTube, I don't think this Susan is so bad. You know why? First off, Zuckerberg was freaking Mr. Censor from hell before he even got strong-armed. Susan got strong-armed. I don't think Susan really cares about, not that much what anybody says on YouTube. It's like she got strong-armed, unfortunately. And if I can't really put myself in her shoes, because what are you going to do, right? And but what I think is going to happen eventually is, what's going to really set the bad guys straight over here, and where it's going to come back, because it's not. I know a lot of people look at religion when they say this, but I look at it almost like when you lose your principles, your honor, your integrity, your dedication to duty, your forthrightness. What happens is everything breaks down because nothing can be trusted. It's like everything's decaying and the structure looks good on the outside, but it's all falling apart. Sort of like that bridge down there in South Florida, the walk pedestrian bridge. Big Bear, Mr. Putin is going to come by. He's going to be the Punisher. That's what I think is going to happen. Now, I hope I'm away from where he's punishing. I can tell you that right now because I don't want to get whacked. But that's probably what's going to happen. And Miss Yellen, Janet Yellen, she's not going to be able to do nothing about all the economy. They're starting to raise interest rates a slight amount. That's going to, I don't know, it's happened. It's amazing they've been keeping this thing afloat for this long. I don't even know how they're doing it. I heard they had Belgium buying U.S. bonds as a proxy fake buyer when it was actually the U.S. government doing it. To make the demand for U.S. dollars strong on the international market. I mean, there's only so much they could fake. After that, the reality sets in. And, these guys that are supposedly like the Darth Naders that got their deep underground military bases, if we got some kind of cataclysmic Earth event, I don't think they're going to be safe down there. They might be sealed in their tombs. And besides that, they can't even trust the people that are immediately around them. Because those type of people, they're just nothing but a bunch of predators. When you don't have, in other words, if you insulate the predators away from the prey, which is us, what do the predators do? If you put all the predators in a cage, what do? They feed on each other. So they could stay down there deep underground military bases, and we'll see what happens, man. Well, we won't see what happens, but I know what's going to happen to them. I don't care what happens to them. But anyway, keep the faith and keep working. I got some other stuff I'm going to be putting out, hopefully. I'm also trying to get into the I want to get into the Sons of Confederate Veterans and lifetime member a little early, but I was talking about the price. Let's see what happens, man. If I get that, I'll tell you about it. But really, what happens is people got to have the cojones to freaking stop the BS. They can't just talk about it. You got to. I mean, maybe not openly stick your neck out like a moron. Like even me. I mean, I could tell you a lot of stuff that's really going on, but it would be almost like sticking my head out to get clobbered because, the YouTube guys would freaking hammer the crap out of me, you know what I mean? I can't say all I know, even though it would be 100% factual. So I kind of beat around the bush once in a while with this stuff. And, and to tell you the truth, even if you knew everything that's going on, that's only a part of what you need to know. You need to know how to survive. So I got a lot of stuff, and stay healthy and long live. So that's, that's a main focus of my channel. Another reason you want to keep silver, though, is because of the medical benefits, or the disinfectant benefits, the antimicrobial benefits. That's one reason I would be very hesitant to get rid of silver, unless it gets up to some crazy freaking price. It has to get up to some really crazy price. It's the only precious metal out there that can actually help with stem cell growth. That's what ionic silver does. That was proven by Dr. Robert Otto Becker back in the late 70s. He didn't understand what was going on with his experiments at that time, but he found out it was actually the production of ionic silver right at the part of the body that had the injury that was causing the stem cells to be regenerated that caused the healing. Now, if you look at today, they're putting silver in bandages. They even put it into footwear and socks to, combat, foot fungus or athlete's foot or something like that. They got that for the military mainly. But, it's good to have. It's good to have for practical value rather than just that you got to have silver because, oh, it's going to go to the moon. I don't think it's ever going to go to the moon. That's BS. Unless people, find out a way to produce silver in such a way that it can produce stem cells and anti-age you, then I probably would go to the moon. I don't know if that's, because I've never seen where just drinking ionic silver would reverse age you. But it does help heal injuries when you have a little bit of that on, the area where the injury is. But anyway, so I just want to leave you with this now, that the best way to fight the power is to go old school all the way. Resist. I like some technology, but then again, like technology is also a problem. And, you look at what happened with the millennials, for crying out loud. They get their nose stuck in their cell phone all freaking day. It's like, sometimes they rag on me, like, somebody taught you how to do that. No, they didn't teach me. No one taught me how to do a lot of stuff, man. I just learned on my own. That's why, I'm out there cussing and getting pissed off, and I figure it out after a while. That's what it is. It's a matter, and a lot of times things take me a lot longer to do something, especially when I've never done it before, and, because I'm in a learning curve, right? But you got to keep striving and try to be accurate and try to do things. That's how you learn. You're not going to learn. I mean, it's good having the technology with the internet, because a lot of times, you might look at one of my videos, maybe I'll show you what to do, how to do it. Or you can look up the manual and exploded diagrams on a lot of different things and figure things out. But most people are wasting their time on the internet just being obsessed with garbage. And, that's part of the game with the elite. They don't want you to think. The internet is a two-edged sword. It can be used for you or against you. It could be used to spy on you. And it could also be used to waste all your freaking time. So, use your time wisely. But honestly, there is a crash coming. I mean, it's like, it's been saying that doom is coming for the last 5 years, for crying out loud. But it is. It is. It's like, I don't understand how they pumped this up so long. But every time, if they don't allow things to do its natural cycle, when a crash comes, it's that much worse. That's a given. And, I've been telling people about, even up in New Jersey, I said, that government up there, forget it. They're probably not even pay their pensions, for crying out loud, after a while up there. And Social Security is probably going to be cut back a certain percentage by the year 2024. It's a lot more broke than you think. That's because they're giving it to, the grandfathers and grandmothers of people that come over here that never freaking put a dime into it. That's why I grabbed this stuff right now. But I mean, I'm working at the CPA firm still, and I'm doing a lot of stuff on my own. I mean, I'm not retired, hitting a little white ball around, for crying out loud, but, I'm grabbing it now while it's still there. It's like, otherwise, forget it, man. And, you might see a video of me later on. I've been pushing this Confederate stuff. I might put a 35-foot flag up there with the Army of Tennessee, big one, in the back of my yard. That'd be cool, right? Fight the power. I might have one of those videos up here probably in a few weeks or so. I got to figure out how to make one out of fence post and secure it with steel cables and big spikes in the ground so it handled 150-mile-an-hour winds and get a light up there too. So you might see that. I mean, the more they attack my Confederate flag, the more I want to do it. It's almost like the hippie thing, you know, in a way. I mean, I'm not a hippie. I don't have long hair, and I'm not trying to say it's exactly like that. But the more they tell you not to do something, the more I do it. You know, that's exactly what it is. It's like, yeah, I mean, when there's nothing wrong with it, you know, they just don't like you because you're independent. That's the whole message of silver. It's a form of independence. I don't know so much, you know, if there's the bottom falls out of the financial system, unless there's a widespread awareness that silver has medicinal, antimicrobial properties and has a lot of practical properties that you can use in everyday life. If that happens, then people will want to have it, just like they want to have toilet paper or something essential, right? And I guess maybe that could possibly be. You know, when people don't have medicines and things, silver is not a bad medicine. It's not perfect, but it's not a bad medicine. And if you know how to prepare it, and if you're a medical doctor or some kind of trained medical profession, you can administer it intravenously. That's not saying you do it. You got to know what you're doing. Then that stuff really does have a lot more power than just drinking it, because it'll knock out infection in the blood real quick. Because wherever it contacts, it knocks out anything. So once people figure that out, then I think it would be very tradable in a bad situation where everything fell apart. But as of right now, just telling people that it used to be money, and that ain't gonna do nothing. If it saves their life, they're gonna want it then. So that could be that it will be a metal that will have barter capabilities if money goes down to severely in worth. So hang on to it. It should be. I think it's a good bet. Over and out.